Mike and Tom are registered with Stewart Partners Global Advisory LLC.
Common Sense Finance with Mike Wiginton and Tom Farrell of HL Wiginton Capital Management, an independent investment and financial planning firm in downtown Jasper. Mike is a chartered financial analyst charter holder, and Tom is a certified financial planner professional. They are here to discuss and give their thoughts on current financial and economic matters. Now, with Common Sense Finance, here are Mike and Tom.
All right, welcome back to another edition of Common Sense Finance. I'm Tom Farrell. This is Mike Wiginton. And on this podcast, we're going to talk about valuations. Everybody's seen home prices have gone up a lot in the last couple of years. In some cases, double-digit gains each year. Obviously, some stock prices have really gone crazy as far as the increase and the valuations. So I wanted to bring our local expert here, Mike, on to talk about kind of the relationship between interest rates and valuations of assets, whether it be real estate or stocks.
So it's really hard to do this without getting into some sort of mathematical exercise, which we're not going to do.
No math.
So I'm just going to say up front, this may or may not flow real well. So I'll start it with this. If in your mind you are a serious investor in the stock or bond market, actually, I'm going to add to that. If in your mind you are a serious investor, I don't care if it's real estate, what asset class it is. Or if you maybe don't view it like that, but investment assets are an important part of your life. And you don't understand how interest rates, aka a discount rate, is the fundamental basic driver of asset valuations, then you need to get with somebody that can talk to you about that. Okay, that's a whole, we could end it there. You need to get with somebody that can talk to you about that. And the basics is this: the lower the interest rate, the higher the valuation of the asset. The higher the interest rate, the lower the valuation of the asset. Doesn't matter what you're talking about. Okay, and so everybody's pretty aware, because a lot of people have really thinking, because it's helped them where interest rates have come down and they've been able to afford a higher value house.
Right.
I've got a mortgage, a 30-year mortgage for 2%, maybe less, who knows. Okay. So that same house, though, that they're buying probably sold for $100,000 less a few years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So therein, you're experiencing exactly what we're talking about. All right. But we're saying flat out is that a big driver in the performance of the stock. Please go look at this. The 5-year geometric 5-year average rate of return on the S&P 500 the last 5 years. I think it's 17%. Around, so far above the long-term average, and so much of that. And not that lowering interest rates just started; it's been going on since the financial crisis of 08-09. Okay, but that is such a big reason for current valuations in stocks. No other sector of the market catches that increase more than technology.
Right.
All right. And so when interest rates go up, if you believe that, hey, the way that you're going to fight inflation, because it is true, is primarily the tool is increasing interest rates to fight inflation, then what does that say for stock returns? If interest rates are going up, what's going to happen to the value of your stocks? If interest rates go up, what happens to the value of bonds?
Interest rates go up, value goes down.
Value goes down. That's a very good answer.
Thanks.
Very timely
I didn't
answer.
know there was going to be.
It's a test. It's always a test. So, and again, I said from the outset, it affects the value, the valuation of every financial asset is based on an interest rate. We call it a discount rate in finance, but it's an interest rate. And so, I think you ought to be having that conversation with your so-called financial advisor.
Yeah.
Is what I think. And you need to wrap your mind around that. Because you remember the story I always tell folks, especially if they're fairly new. They don't have to be brand new, but fairly new to invest in the stock market. I said, when my wife and I, when we had our first child, we were carrying him around in that, what do you call it, that little pumpkin seat, that kind of rocks back and forth. And we would go to real exotic places to eat, like Quincy's. And we would sit back in the garden room, where they had the glass on the window and all that. And generally there wasn't a whole lot of people back there. So we would go off in the back and the first child was not a fuss. He slept most of the time. And so my rants probably put him to sleep maybe. But anyway, but from time to time, babies cry. They get fussed. So we would go sit away from everybody so we wouldn't disturb other people. She would take him in the pumpkin seat. I would go through the line, maneuvering these trays. And we go to the back. And if and when there was some fussiness, some crying, it was a good experience. We planned for it.
Right.
We anticipated it. It didn't always happen. But when it did, it was no big deal.
Right.
And that's all we're saying to people, that anticipating, knowing what to expect from the behavior of your investments plays a critical role in your ability to make the right decision when bad times come. You like the way I put that?
I
just pieced it together.
Right off the top of your head, that was good. Anything else?
That's all I have.
All right.
You've worn me out on this.
We'll see you next time. Thanks.
Barely 21, hot thing, looking for big fun, hot thing, what's your fantasy, hot thing.